Mr. Kuchikunalama, you're representative of government here. How would you respond to some of the comments you've heard?
I think first, let me deal with the things I agree with. I do agree that there is a relationship between economic situation of the people, insecurity, and perhaps even a way to put it better is that, like, if you can somehow systematically fix the economic problems and the well-being of the people, you will eventually, be dealing with insecurities as well, even though you need to do some direct intervention to deal with insecurity, at least in the short term. I think the point I will always make is, that there is, you have to look at these things in terms of proper diagnosis. Then what do you do in the short term? What do you do in the medium term? What do you do in the long term? Maybe that's what the prof was saying about you can't be a magician. And therefore, there has to be clarity. I believe in transparency. Let it be clear what can be done realistically in the short term, what can be done in the medium term and long term.
Okay, because you are in the cabinet, you perhaps can give us a clue on what exactly is happening. For example, in Benue State, the president did say that he asked the IGP to go somewhere and he did not know why he did not go. What exactly is happening? Is there a disconnect somewhere?
Well, I mean, like I said, I believe in transparency. So if you're asking me what the president said to the IG, what the IG did, I mean, I just have nothing to add there, and I'm sure you know I have nothing to add. The point really to make, which is relevant to me and relevant to you, are the following. The points are the following. First is that, like, this idea of collective acceptance of responsibility and then working to find solutions is very important, because I find that there is a lot of finger pointing in Nigeria. I was taught many years ago that it's much better to be satisfied than to be right. And as a nation, we must get away from this obsession as I'm right. But when you're dealing with something at stake that is important, lives are being lost. What do you gain by saying, I won, you were wrong? The man is dead. So I think when it comes to these issues of security, whether it's between the state and the federal government, we have to work collectively for the common good. So, I have nothing against politics, but there are times when what you have at stake is much bigger than who is right and who is wrong.
So let's quickly get some reactions now from Colonel Stanlabo.
I think it's important we make some distinction between insurgency and terrorism. I think we tend to be mixing both without minding the fact that, look, there is a thin line that separates both. Insurgency can easily be, taken care of through well-planned operational lines of lines of operations, military lines of operations. But terrorism, for God's sake, is a different ball game. Terrorism in itself is a variant of conflict, of asymmetric conflicts, okay, embedded in communities. All right, so it is intelligence driven, okay. It calls for citizen participation. It's faceless. The battleground itself is not even marked. So it's not, you cannot really say this is my own battleground and that is a terrorist's own battleground, okay? We could go on and on and on and on. So a nutshell of what I'm trying to say about terrorism is that, look, it's not something you can easily get out of. And I've tried to educate a lot of my audience whenever I talk on this. I know we are in a hurry to get out of terrorism, but can we just accept the truth? The truth is that we're going to live with it for quite some time.
Let's look at the issue.
Just a minute, please. Let me just land. If it was that easy to get out of terrorism, the Americans could have been out of Afghanistan, Iraq. Look at the situation in Syria, and so on. However, we can continue to dismantle the mechanism, the machinery with which the terrorist continues to attack us until such a point whereby we are able to completely break their backbone.
Colonel Stanlabo, we need really move into issues of social infrastructure. And I think we should bring in Dr. Dikpeolu. The loads and loads of promises made by this government about the issues of social infrastructure. And if we go into it, we probably will spend the whole day talking about the campaign, the points and the campaign promises. Where are we?
Thank you very much, Joe. I think that's one area
where we can justifiably say that a lot has been done. I'll start overall with the social intervention programs of government. And I start with the homegrown school feeding program, where 8.2 million children are being fed daily across 24 states. But more importantly, it's the benefits of that feeding, both to the children in terms of increased school attendance, in terms of improved nutrition for the children, and improved learning outcomes, to the fact that it's a value chain. It's a homegrown school feeding program. It's not a school feeding program. What it means is that what the children eat comes from the farm produce in that state or in that locality. It's transported in the same state, so the transporters also benefit. The processors of the food benefit, so turning cassava into gari, so to speak. The cooks also benefit, and over 85,000 people have been recruited as cooks for those homegrown school feeding. So at that level, just impacting on the young, the one element. The other element, of course, is that there's the Empower program, by which up to 200,000 young graduates have been employed as teachers, agricultural extension workers, and public health officials. Now, that 200,000 is set to be complemented by another 300,000. It looks small in the scheme of things, but just taking the fact that you're taking 200,000 young people out of despondency and you've given them a tool by which each of them has a device. So you've given them a tool with which they undergo continuous training and they acquire skills in data. Dr. Dipiolu, it seems someone on the panel is quite uncomfortable with some of the things you're saying. Just a moment. Let's allow Professor Kila to weigh. He's not comfortable. And
yes, I started being uncomfortable earlier on, but I would contain myself because of the mix-up of the external terrorism of Afghanistan and Syria with the local one. But let's leave that. That's the discomfort has been shown. The other one I'm getting uncomfortable about is what Doctor was saying. These ideas are good, but you say they appear little. They appear little because they are little. They are archaic. Let me say this. You see,
let me finish.
In 20, I'm going to let you finish then.
It sounds little because you didn't allow me to finish.
Maybe, but I'll let you finish it.
So we've given in the same. I spoke only about 1 or 4 programs.
Yes.
And I was speaking about the Empower program. And what the young children are doing with the Empower program.
Yes.
And I tell you, you go and talk to those young people participating in the Empower program,
yes,
and they will tell you the changes it has brought to their lives.
It's a good idea.
Hold on. And another 300,000 are set to go on.
Yes.
Then there's the microcredit, which is being given to market women and their cooperatives, farmer cooperatives,
yes,
whereby you can raise up to 50,000 naira to expand your business. And these things matter for someone who's done financial inclusion.
Yes.
You know that you put money in the hands of those people, they will turn it around. It creates effective demand, and it also helps to generate employment.
Yeah.
Then, of course, there's a conditional cash transfer in which we are giving 5,000 naira to indigent households, widows, people whose children have probably died and there's nobody to support them. And these programs are being ramped up on a daily basis.
Yes.
But it's just a start in the sense that for the first time you have what is a considerable social protection program reaching the very people it's supposed to reach. And the young children doing Empower will tell you that they didn't know anybody.
Okay.
They applied.
Let's now hear from Professor Kenneth.